Mitchell Johnson and Andrew Golden are American mass murderers responsible for the shooting at Westside Middle School in West Jonesboro, Arkansas on March 24, 1998. Mitchell Scott Johnson was born on August 11, 1984, in Rochester, Minnesota. His parents, Gretchen and Scott Johnson, divorced when he was 7 years old. Mitchell and his brother moved to Jonesboro, Arkansas with their mother. Shortly after, she married a man named Terry Woodward. Terry was an inmate at the prison where she worked as a correctional officer. 1 year before the shooting, when Mitchell was 12 years old, he was charged with molesting a 3-year-old girl while visiting Minnesota with his family. However, the record of this case was expunged because of Mitchell's age. Andrew Douglas Golden was born on May 25, 1986, in Jonesboro, Arkansas. His parents, Jacqueline and Dennis Golden, worked as postal workers. Mitchell and Andrew were both students at Westside Middle School. Apparently, they knew each other but were not close friends. They would bully other students, and it was reported that Mitchell vocalized his desire to join a gang and smoke weed. It was also reported that he had a fascination with firearms. Mitchell also threatened to kill his ex-girlfriend, a 6th grade girl named Candace Porter, because she broke up with him. Andrew was in the 6th grade, and it was reported that he displayed troublesome behavior as well. He would get in fights and use foul language, and he was also accused of killing a cat with a BB gun. 3 months before the incident, it was reported to a counselor that Andrew said he wanted to shoot some people at the school. When he was called to the counselor, he said he had a nightmare about shooting the school and dreamt he was killed in the process, which scared him off the plan. The day before the shooting, Mitchell told his friends he had a lot of killing to do, and that they would not know if they would live or die. On the night before the shooting, the boys loaded Mitchell's mother's Dodge Caravan with supplies. They loaded up camping supplies and snack foods along with 9 weapons. They had a Remington 742 30-06 rifle, Universal 30 M1 carbine replica, a Ruger 44 Magnum rifle, a Smith & Wesson 38 Special Revolver, a Double Deuce Buddy 22 caliber 2-shot Derringer, an FIE 38 pistol, a Star 38 pistol, a Ruger Security 6 357 revolver, Davis Industries 38 2-shot Derringer, and a Charter Arms 38 Special Revolver, along with 2,000 rounds of ammunition. They stole this arsenal from Andrew's grandfather's house. The next morning, March 24, 1998, the boys deliberately missed their bus to get a ride in the van to Westside Middle School. At school, at around 12:30 p.m., Andrew pulled the fire alarm. During this time, Mitchell took their weapons to some woods just outside the school. After pulling the alarm, Andrew ran to meet Mitchell in the woods. At 12:41 p.m., as teachers and children began to evacuate the school, the two boys opened fire. Some began to yell out that it was all fake, which caused confusion. One teacher actually thought the shots were fireworks used to frighten the children into taking the fire drill seriously. Some ignored the shots, assuming the noise came from a nearby construction site. Students were guided into the school's gymnasium. It was reported that students could hear bullets ricocheting off the building. One student told a teacher with them that they thought the shooter was Mitchell Johnson. The student said that they were told not to come to school that day. During their rampage, they killed 5 people and injured another 10. 4 of the 5 killed were students, and 1 was a teacher. And 9 additional students were injured with 1 teacher. All 10 of those injured survived their injuries. Andrew and Mitchell attempted to run back to the van to make an escape, but they were later caught by the police. They were apprehended about 10 minutes after the shooting began. After the Pearl High School shooting and the Heath High School shooting, this was the 3rd fatal multiple shooting at an American school in less than a year. So President Clinton ordered Attorney General Janet Reno to analyze the incidents, determine what they had in common, and try to come up with some steps to reduce the chance of a similar incident. After the shooting, items were left in memory of the victims and white ribbons were tied to tree trunks in memorial. The school installed a memorial bench with the date of the massacre outside the school. In a park behind the school, a sundial memorial is engraved with the names of the victims. The park area was designed as a memorial park based around the number 5 to commemorate the 5 who lost their lives. There are 5 trees, 5 picnic tables, and 5 stepping stones along with the sundial. During the trial, Mitchell read a letter of apology to the victims' families. He said that he had not been targeting anyone specifically. He said, "Hi, my name is Mitchell. My thoughts and prayers are with those people who were killed or shot and their families. I'm really sad inside about everything. My thoughts and prayers are with those kids that I go to school with. I really want people to know the real Mitchell someday. Sincerely, Mitchell Johnson. They were both tried as juveniles, and they were both found guilty of 5 counts of murder. The Jonesboro prosecutor later stated that if it wasn't for their age, he would have sought the death sentence. Following their convictions, the boys were taken by a National Guard helicopter to Alexander, Arkansas, and there they were admitted to the Arkansas Juvenile Assessment and Treatment Center and the Arkansas Department of Human Services Youth Services Division Juvenile Facility, and eventually the state's most secure juvenile facility. In August 1998, both boys were sentenced to confinement until they reached the age of 21. This was the maximum sentence available under Arkansas law. Judge Ralph Wilson commented, "This is a case where the punishment will not fit the crime." The case led to public outcry for tougher sentencing laws concerning juvenile offenders. Mitchell Johnson was released from the Federal Correctional Institution in Memphis on his 21st birthday, August 11, 2005. He spent 7 years in prison. Andrew Golden was released from the Federal Correctional Institution in Memphis on his 21st birthday, May 25, 2007. He spent 9 years in prison. Andrew's whereabouts were unknown until he applied for a concealed weapon permit in Arkansas on October 7, 2008. He applied under the name Drew Douglas Grant. His application was denied after it was discovered that he lied on the application about his previous residences, not to mention that it was illegal for Andrew to own or possess a firearm. Andrew was living in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, while attending Batesville Community College. He eventually completed his civil case deposition on May 6, 2008. As for Mitchell Johnson, he was arrested on January 1, 2007 by the ATF after a traffic stop in Fayetteville, Arkansas. He faced misdemeanor charges of possession of 21.2 grams of marijuana and carrying a weapon. He had a loaded 9mm pistol. Mitchell was indicted by a federal grand jury on October 24, 2007 for possession of a firearm while either using or addicted to a controlled substance. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Arkansas reported that Johnson had pled not guilty. He was released on a $5,000 bond, and then the trial began on January 28, 2008. After 2 days of testimony, he was found guilty on a charge of possessing a weapon while being a drug user. 1 month later, in February 2008, just days after his conviction, he was arrested again for possession of marijuana and suspicion of using a stolen credit card. In September of 2008, he was sentenced to 4 years in prison on the weapon and drug charges. During his sentence, the judge told him, "No matter your sentence, you still have a life. Those killed in 1998 do not." On October 7, 2008, Mitchell pleaded guilty to a felony theft charge and misdemeanor possession of marijuana, and he admitted to stealing a debit card and using it along with the possession charge. On November 14, 2008, at the age of 24, Mitchell was sentenced to 12 years in prison for the theft charge and misdemeanor possession charges. A couple months later, on January 23, 2009, he was sentenced to 6 additional years in prison for another theft charge. Circuit Judge William Story told Mitchell, "You continue to run afoul of the law. I am hopeful this is the last time." In 2015, Mitchell was released into the custody of the United States Probation Office for the Southern District of Texas and placed in a drug rehabilitation program. He has not been reincarcerated since. His exact whereabouts are withheld by the government for legal reasons. Mitchell Johnson and Andrew Golden were the only 2 living mass school shooters who were not incarcerated. In 2017, the victims' families were awarded $150 million after filing a lawsuit against Mitchell and Andrew, seeking damages and to prevent the 2 from profiting from the shooting. Andrew Douglas Golden died on July 27, 2019 in a car accident. A 2013 Chevy Tahoe crashed head-on into Andrew's 2017 Honda CR-V. Both drivers were killed in the crash. Andrew's wife, another adult, and Andrew's son were injured and taken to hospitals. At the time of his death, Golden was said to be living in Jackson, Missouri. After the Cleveland Elementary School shooting in Stockton, California, the massacre at Westside Middle School was the deadliest non-college school shooting in modern United States history until the April 1999 Columbine High School massacre. This is for informational purposes only. The people responsible and their actions should in no way be glorified. There are monsters among us. We must learn from our past and be preemptive. Regardless of motive, violence should always be a last resort as a method for inducing or provoking social change. Actions that lead to the taking of lives of innocent people are simply not justified.